Welcome to this special edition of Homekeepers Viewpoint. Wanda and Stephanie will join me shortly, along with my special guest and great friend, Deborah Ray Roseman. Deborah is well known for past legendary programs, Healthy Talk Radio and also Healthy Talk Television. Deborah has joined me on a variety of programs for many years, and I've often remarked that when I ask her a health question, she never offers her own opinion. Rather, she gives the latest research on the subject. Well, today, the four of us will discuss COVID-19, which is reputedly a pandemic that has reached most of the known world. I know this is front and center for the mind of many Americans, but before these ladies join us, I would like to again offer you the book, America at the Crossroads by statistician George Barna. The subtitle is Explosive Trends Shaping America's Future and What You Can Do About It. Mr. Barna is one of the most respected Christians in our world today, and most leaders take him seriously. This is the last program we will offer this program. Supplies are limited, so place your order now, and here's the information you need to receive one.
In recent months, America has destroyed herself from within more than any other time in history. Violence, destruction of property, riots, and lawlessness have become the familiar theme of our nightly news. For many years, author George Barna has, through detailed research, journeyed to the heart of America's problems and then made them available to the church. Today, Homekeepers offers his book, America at the Crossroads. This book presents a clearly researched view of how the reactions of our nation's culture and the Christian church intersect. In America at the Crossroads, you will find a detailed account of not only the problems, but also the answers. This valuable information is yours for a gift of $25 to the Homekeepers Ministry. In order to receive your copy, call 1-800-229-0059 or write to Homekeepers, Post Office Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758. Operators are standing by. Call now.
And welcome to my best friends, all of you, Stephanie, Deborah, and Wanda. And perhaps we can add to the confusion of this subject. Before I do, Lord, notice your cups.
Love them.
They say Jesus and coffee, and I'm so glad they don't say coffee and Jesus.
Yes.
Because I won't mention any names, but there are people at this table who love their coffee.
I do.
I
admit it.
Yeah.
I do love coffee.
Yes. Well, Deborah, the whole world is confused, and the books are coming out everywhere. This is pandemic protection, about how you can, rev up your immune system. But here's the politics: God, Trump, and COVID-19. And I just wonder, in all your years in the health, could say business, have you ever seen anything like this?
No. However, I went back in my library, and back in 1994, there was a 600-page book published called The Coming Plague. And Laurie Garrett did a beautiful job.
And how long ago was that?
1994, stating that because we are a global economy, because we treat our animals, we eat differently, we treat our immune systems differently, we have stress like we never did before, that the plagues that we know historically and biblically are going to become more and more frequent.
Yes, and there were plagues in the Bible. There's no question about it. So Deborah sent us some material, which I sent to these girls, so you're going to be graded. You two.
Oh. Great.
You're going to be graded. I'm going to sit back and let the three of you talk. But Deborah, your overall view of maybe the best way to look at this?
Is
a lot of fear out there, for one thing.
A lot of fear. It is such an opportunity to give it up to God, but it's also an opportunity for us to reset. If we take a look at where the morbidity, where the mortality, the deaths are, it, like it or not, is in America because we don't have a healthy population.
No, we don't.
We see more people with diabetes, with heart disease, with lung disorders die. Because inherently they're not healthy.
Stephanie, I was wondering, did you learn anything new with the information we sent.
Here's my biggest question, because there's so much out there and everyone's like, do your research, but what do you believe? Who do you believe? You know, I can research all day, but I get 100 different ideas from different people. So what is the best information? Where's the best information? Where do you get it?
Out of this country?
Yes.
Because you take a look at the research in this country and you read it, for example, in Great Britain, and it looks completely different. You think you're reading a different story.
Right. Right. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, just go, like, are we just listening to doctors that are saying things? Or because there's just like, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, stay 6 feet away, stay in your house. You know, all,
These are from
all
the
the
experts.
things. Yeah. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm
Give
so
her some coffee.
confused.
So I've looked at what they do in Japan, what they've done in Sweden, what they've done in Italy, and it's a nice perspective because it's not the 24 news cycle that we're just.
Is there one of those that's superior, one of those nations?
Japan is pretty interesting because they have gone to the 3 C's.
Yep.
No close contact, no crowded
Right.
spaces, not being in contact long with people. Because, for example, they did show in that choir
Yes.
an amazing incidence of people being in a closed, small environment for an extended period of time.
So did that bring the curve way down?
Well, I don't think they may have locked down for a little bit, but I
They
thought
didn't.
I read they didn't have to lock down
Right.
at all.
Just like
Japan
Hong
didn't.
Kong did
and
not
they
do a
have more
lockdown.
people than probably we do. But even the children have learned to let's not be in closed spaces and
Better
close
ventilation.
contact, better ventilation, exactly. And I could think we need a little more ventilation here in this building. I have a hard time breathing in this building. I'm just saying.
That's so interesting.
She's always
I'm
complaining.
always like, oh man, like last night I was at my desk and I'm like going, wait a minute, there's no
breathe.
air. It's just not moving, so I have to turn the fan on to swirl it around just to get some movement. But that's my problem. But
Well, this is off the subject, but one other interesting thing about Japan, you know, these ridiculous riots we've had. You know what they do in Japan? They spray them with blue dye. And then they know who did it.
I love it.
that's a great idea, actually.
very good
I think
idea.
that's a wonderful idea. Or choose your
It
color.
won't wash
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
But speaking of the ventilation, they showed in England several years ago, because in this country we have an amazing incidence of what they call nosocomial, hospital-acquired infections.
Oh, yeah.
2 million a year.
Wow.
Oh.
200,000 people die every year of hospital-acquired infections. In
Yep.
England, they have older hospitals with 10-foot ceilings, and they don't have infections.
Really?
I have
that we
heard
do in this
over and
country.
over, do
Oh,
not go to
man.
the hospital unless it's absolutely necessary.
Yes.
So-
Yes.
Okay, how does this, we've all had the flu in our lifetime, I'm sure everyone at this table. How is this similar?
Well, you're 20 times more likely when mom sent you down the street to get the mumps, than COVID.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, that's good news.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, let me ask you this. Exactly what is the COVID? Is it a protein? Is it a virus?
It's a virus.
A virus that, and if it's in your body, well, it's like shingles. Once you get chickenpox, that stays in your body. Is this going to stay in our bodies?
They don't know that yet.
They-
They
oh,
really
okay.
don't know that yet.
All right.
They have shown that they don't think that there's any reoccurrence.
Yeah.
But what that means long term, we are the experiment.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like shingles where we know that chickenpox vaccine is in our nurse sheets, and
Yeah.
if you're under stress, you may have shingles
Right.
later on in life. We just don't know that yet.
Yeah.
What have you learned about the testing? That, to me, was where the confusion is. And then it can take 3 weeks to get the result of the test. And so they count that someone that has it. But yet there are people, I've got some relative that he's had all kinds of tests that say positive and never had a symptom.
Yeah.
It's just like, the research on vaccinations. Vaccinations are not 100% effective or 100% accurate. Same thing with testing. It's not 100% accurate, not 100% effective. So they are now suggesting that you have multiple tests on multiple days, because you may show symptoms, but the test never turns positive for whatever reason.
Yeah. We have known people who've had it.
Yes.
Do you know any friends other than our mutual friends who've had it in your
Nope,
circle?
just our mutual friends.
Do you?
I'm thinking. I don't think so. I think it's mutual here.
I don't either. I have a relative who keeps getting a positive test. There's nothing wrong with him. And he's a busy man. I mean, he needs to be on the job. And so he goes, takes another test, and it's positive, so you have to take, and it's like, what do you do with someone like that?
Yeah.
And I think
What
there's a
was
lot of,
you said 2 C's. What was the third C?
Third one was extended contact.
Extended contact.
Right,
Okay, so
right.
that's what you're saying. Is that what you suggest for all of us?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
don't stay in close contact with people for a long time. No big crowds.
Right.
Right.
And what was the third one?
Closed spaces,
Closed
crowded
spaces.
spaces.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and extended contact.
So let me ask you this. Is this a strain, if they come up with a vaccine, is it just going to be for this one strain, or it's not going to be multiple?
No.
It doesn't like
No, it's like the
have a
flu
trail?
shot each year.
Okay.
We really don't know if it's going to be the strain that's active that year. And if we look
Yes.
at the British studies, only about 28% of the flu shot vaccines are effective for the strain that year.
Got you. But this will be the same.
This will be the same,
Okay.
unless it
That's good to know.
mutates, because we also
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm a little
seeing
worried
some
about.
mutations on that.
well,
I don't like that sound of that at all.
No, no, that's not a good.
So we come back to living scripturally.
Yeah.
It teaches us in terms of
It
our
does.
lifestyle, how we eat, how we deal with stress.
this book is by Dr. Don Colbert, and it just came to my desk. I'd love to have him on talk about it, but I went through it quickly, and even the importance of sleep, what it does to your immune system. And I think we have a sleep-deprived nation overall, which is very serious. We've just got a minute till the break, but Deborah, you've studied all these nations, and they're different sizes, so that
Right.
that has to be figured in. Of all of them you've looked at, do you think there's one really superior? You mentioned Japan, so they're doing a lot right.
I think Sweden, understanding that children can go to school if done appropriately and prudently. That there's a downside to not having our children in contact with other children and learning. That's an important factor that's lost on the press right now.
Now, there was a time when Italy was reputed to, like the whole nation was going to die, kind of. Have you followed that up at all?
I have. Interestingly,
She always does.
because I have a good friend with a business who was very concerned about the supplies that she uses. She has a silk flower shop, and all of her materials came from China, and she was concerned about it because the quality was getting increasingly poor, and found that all of a sudden the label said made in China, made in Italy. Well, China came in and bought all the factories around Milan, hence that's where Italy became a real hot spot for this virus.
Really?
Yes.
Did it come in the product?
Came in with the workers.
So the workers, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So those are all the things that are really kind of basic
Right, right.
that you've been talking about. And this book that I've been offering, it doesn't mention the COVID, but it mentions all the things that are coming and before Jesus comes back. And I think this fits right into it. I think very much that these worldwide problems, now they're saying got a problem with having enough change and so forth. All of this, my friend, is really leading up to the time when Jesus will come back. And I want you to hear a little bit more about this book, because this is the last program we'll be offering it on. So take a listen.
In recent months, America has destroyed herself from within more than any other time in history. Violence, destruction of property, riots, and lawlessness have become the familiar theme of our nightly news. For many years, author George Barna has, through detailed research, journeyed to the heart of America's problems and then made them available to the church. Today, Homekeepers offers his book, America at the Crossroads. This book presents a clearly researched view of how the reactions of our nation's culture and the Christian church intersect. In America at the Crossroads, you will find a detailed account of not only the problems, but also the answers. This valuable information is yours for a gift of $25 to the Homekeepers Ministry. In order to receive your copy, call 1-800-229-0059 or write to Homekeepers, Post Office Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida 33758. Operators are standing by. Call now.
All right, if you're just joining us, this is an edition of Homekeepers Viewpoint. I've got Stephanie, you know Stephanie, Deborah Ray Roseman, and my wonderful assistant, Wanda. We're talking about COVID-19, and it is our great wish that we do not add to any of the confusion that is in America today. But there are so many conflicting, and these are from the experts. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask, do this, don't do this. And sometimes I just need to turn the news off and say, Lord, I'm going to leave it in your hands. But anyway, we've tried to study it a little bit, and at the top of the show, I mentioned that Deborah had sent us some information. I sent it to the girls. And Stephanie, did it create more questions or more answers?
A little of both. You know, you can learn things, and then you find out more things that you didn't know.
Then that wasn't true, but this new thing is true. Yeah.
Right. I'm wondering how you feel about travel, about airline travel, or what your thoughts are on that, because it's just also confusing. I know some airlines are at full capacity again, some are doing distancing. Does that go back to the closed spaces and all of that? Even if you wear a mask and all of that, you don't think it's a good idea?
It can be done prudently. I'm reminded that on March 13th of this year, I happened to be in the Chicago airport and had been away for an extended period of time and had just come back and started reading the news, and it's like, oh my goodness, what happened? Right. But I was in the washroom in the Chicago airport, and without fail, every single lady went and washed her hands. And that was so novel.
That's
People
true.
don't wash their hands.
It's crazy.
Yes. Wash your
Mother
hands.
told them to do that when they were in kindergarten.
You shouldn't be using that center seat. I never thought it was a good idea.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can do it prudently. Wash your hands. Wear a mask.
Because
Are you pro-mask or?
Well, in certain situations,
Pro-mask.
because you don't have the ventilation in an airplane.
Yeah.
So in an airplane, yes.
Yes.
I don't know anybody who's really pro-mask.
Well,
I wear them
for
when I
this
have.
situation.
Yes.
For
Yes.
this situation.
Okay, on the travel, we have a situation in our family where a lot of people will be coming in, but my sister in California, it's a long way, she's got a compromised bronicles, something, we don't know what's going on, and she said, I just can't do it. It breaks her heart, but you have to take all that into consideration. I think it'd be kind of creepy to sit on a plane and everybody has a mask on. Well, Wanda, do you have any questions for Deborah?
Well, you know, you stated that America, we're sick people. We truly are a sick people, and you know, starting with me first, I name it. I shouldn't name it and claim it. I just know I have some issues. Okay, so.
And I can vouch for that.
In that regard, you can do. What can we do as American citizens to get ourselves in a healthier state? What type of foods should we be eating to enhance our immune system and build our bodies up? Because this is, you know, honestly, we live in a great society. We can go out for steak, we can have pasta, we can have all kinds of wonderful food, but is it really good for us when we're talking about stuff with like gluten, all these things that make a lot of people very sick actually, and they don't even know they have an issue with it.
Right, right. Years ago, I had an opportunity to interview several times Dr. Walter Willett, who is Professor Emeritus of Nutrition at Harvard University, wrote a great layman's book for us. And he said it's very simple. We could reverse 95%. Reverse. He published this in the New England Journal of Medicine. 95% of all type 2 diabetes and heart disease with some basic things. Eat as many fresh fruits and vegetables as you like or as in season on a daily basis. Eat some reasonable protein. Our body needs protein.
Yeah.
If you eat fat, make it a good fat.
Like
Avocado,
avocado?
olive oil.
Yeah.
Try and stay away from the bad fats.
Yeah.
And get activity every day. That's all we need to do.
Yeah. And that's pretty simple.
It is.
That doesn't cost anything except
No.
groceries.
But it's what you choose to spend those purchases on. We eat a lot of processed foods.
Yeah.
You know, we don't mind our nutrition.
Right.
And it's telling in
Yeah.
our health.
Yeah.
Have you, Deborah, have you known anybody who got the pandemic personally?
I have some very close friends now. He's 91, and they had to go to emergency room. He had a hernia, and they both caught it in the emergency room. And he is a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease patient, but he has this wonderful faith and this wonderful attitude.
Wow.
And so his wife is his advocate, and she's always cooking organic for him and using the right supplements. And so she has, you know, convinced her physician to, you know, to work with them. And so they put him on another steroid inhaler just to kind of take down that stress level on his lungs.
But he's not on a ventilator or anything.
Not on a ventilator, taking IV vitamin C, and he's doing just fine. This is a lung, I'm not saying it does work for all, but this is a lung patient who's looking at
A lung patient.
when you get ill, always ask the doctors, what would you do? If this was your father
Yeah.
or your wife, what would you do?
Yeah.
And you look at the emergency room doctors, you know, the first line health responders are using high dose vitamin C, things like selenium and thiamine, which are natural antiviral agents, trying to be more mindful of how they eat and the stresses in their life. But there are things that we can do.
And they're probably cheaper than prescriptions.
Imagine what could happen if we all just made those small changes. I want to challenge each one of us.
And let us hear from you.
Yes, it doesn't it doesn't have to be all at once. I think that's the problem. Sometimes it's very overwhelming.
it.
Like, oh, I got to do this. No, maybe just start eating vegetables every day, and start with that, and then maybe just add a walk to that. Drink more water, everyone. You know what I'm saying? And slowly do the process. We could change so many things.
Yes,
It's like a spiritual journey.
Yes.
It's one step at a time, absolutely.
Well, Deborah, you've worked in the health field for decades, actually. What kind of weight do you put in the importance of faith? Because this is material, and vitamins are material and all, and faith, you can't hold it, you can't drink it, you can't do anything.
I'm always reminded of the research study. They took a look at patients with terminal situations. Better than 95% of them said, my faith, it's my faith. They went to physicians and said, how important do you think that is in the patient's outcome? Less than 50%.
And this is very important, because, as I mentioned earlier in the program, it's become very political. And there are forces out there that are trying to shut down the churches, saying you shouldn't sing and worship the Lord in churches. Wake up, Christians.
Yeah.
We don't have to take that. I heard Eric Metaxas this morning on, I don't know, maybe on video, but he said, Christians think they always have to be nice. Jesus picked up a whip
table and threw it at the money changers.
and
Yes,
they're
he did.
shredding the Constitution
Yeah.
when it comes to religious freedom. Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen, because it's been proven scientifically that people with faith, there's a whole big difference than those that just have all the surgery and the meds and all that. And also the Bible really teaches a wonderful, healthy lifestyle. I
Nothing
can't
better.
get over the fact that the children of Israel walked for 40 years. There was not one overweight person in the bunch. And they ate manna. When I get to heaven, I hope there's some of that left over. I really want to know what that looks like, feels like, what it tastes like. when it goes down. The Bible really is the guide.
It is. It is. My Bible study is doing fearfully and wonderfully.
Wonderfully made, yeah.
Wonderful that we are made in His image, and all we have to do is listen and read and take that to heart. And He's got it there for us.
Yeah, we've got a couple of minutes, so I want each of you to just give a real quick testimony or word or something that you think will be beneficial to the viewers.
Talking about the faith, I am 100% sure that that's what got me through breast cancer.
Amen.
And like, sometimes I have survivor guilt, and sometimes I have guilt like it was not so hard for me, but I believe that the Lord walked me through every single step. So pray, and just pray more, and then ask people to pray.
And these wonderful viewers were with her all the way through it. What you got?
Well, I was just thinking, this is something the Lord has been telling me lately, is that what my eyes are fixed on is what what will come forth from myself. And even though the Messiah's eyes were fixed on Jerusalem, he didn't get there yet. So I am trying very, very diligently to keep my eyes fixed on things that are pure, honest, and just. I love the Lord, and I know He's going to bring me through, and nothing will happen to me that He is not already prepared for. So I'm not worried about, it's so easy to become fearful. And I honestly, there was a time I was so fearful that I just cried in my living room, like my husband was gone, and I'm like, I'm by myself.
Pity party.
Well, it was a good one, but in the essence of it, the Lord took it away. Thank you, God, that He's so faithful to us in our innermost chambers of where we live, and what we tell Him in our private time, that God is faithful to bring us through.
Right, and that sorrow can bring you down too.
Yeah.
But He's there for that. We
Yeah.
got just a couple of seconds. What's on your heart?
That still small voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Spirit.
It
Yeah.
is.
Never
Yeah.
fails to
Yeah.
provide the answer that I never
Yes.
even thought of,
Yeah.
but it's the right one.
Yes,
Amen.
these ladies have lost their husbands in recent years, and they know. They know there's a big difference when you know the Lord.
Yes.
There's such a difference. And things are happening so quickly in this world. To me, they're pointing to the rapture of the church of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And I love that scripture that said, I would not have you to be ignorant. So thankfully, the Bible can tell us what's ahead and what we can expect. Please join us next time. Remember, there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.